Welcome back, CSE 3200 Yukon Stores. We're in the second and final video of Chapter 14. In the previous video, I displayed 3 objectives and said I was going to cover the first 2. In fact, I covered all 3. What's left to do in this video is to get the crime detail fragment and date picker fragment to communicate with each other so we can update our date. Now, we've done this sort of communication a couple of different ways. In Chapter 13, we used the navigation library to pass back the crime ID. That was a good idea then because the crime itself was a very difficult piece of data to unravel because it had 4 pieces of data within it itself. It's something that we stored in our database. So this is simpler to do. We're just passing back the date. So we are going to make use of a Fragment API. And that's going to be similar to the activity API that we used in Chapter 7, where we used explicit intents and we used companion objects. So it's going to be similar to that, but not quite as complicated, you'll see. So the first things we need to do is go into our application. We need to go into the nav graph, select date picker fragment, and add an argument. We are going to call that crime date with an uppercase D. It is going to be of type date, so we need to use this drop-down box, go down to customize serial, and go date and pick java.util. Go ahead and add that, and we now have that parameter, or that argument that we're going to have to now pass in as a parameter to the crime detail fragment. So let's go into the crime detail fragment, and where we were at last, the crime detail fragment directions.select date, we are going to go crime.date. Back in date picker fragment, we are going to have to put in our private val args of type date picker fragment args by nav args. That does need an import, but have I done that already? I guess I have. Okay. And then we're going to go down here to the calendar, and we are going to have to put calendar.time is equal to args.crimedate. All right. Let's go back and check the crime detail fragment. Okay. Let's run this and see if everything's all right. All right, I'll go into toxic lunch. I'll click this. I'll change the date. I'll click OK. It still has not updated. That is expected, but it hasn't crashed, so I'm feeling good about it so far. Okay, so we need to set up a relationship between our 2 fragments, the date picker fragment and the crime detail fragment, as I said, using the Fragment API. And I also said it was going to be similar to what we did in Chapter 7. So in the date picker fragment, we're going to create a companion object and make a key value, which is going to be a string that crime detail fragment is going to request. All right. In the onViewCreated method inside of crime detail fragment, we are going to have to make use of this function. This is the one that is going to establish the connection between these 2 fragments, the set fragment result listener. It's going to have 2 arguments. The first argument is going to be that key, and the second argument is going to be a listener. Remember that whenever we set up our object in the last video, our listener was null, and we will be taking care of that shortly, but notice we still haven't got the code for our listener finalized. Let's take care of this. So we're going to go into date picker fragment, and we are going to make a companion object. companion object, put curly braces, constant val, request underscore key underscore date is equal to the string with those very same characters. Then we're going to go into crime detail fragment, and inside of, let me find it, the on view created, we're going to go to the bottom of this method right here, and we are going to put in set fragment result listener. We are going to put in parentheses, and we're going to put date picker fragment dot request key date, and then go outside of the parentheses and put in our curly braces request key, and it gives us our bundle with our lambda function, and we are going to tell ourselves we're going to come back to this later. So we're going to go back into the date picker fragment and set the fragment result after the user is going to pick the date. We're going to add a listener to send the result back to the crime detail fragment. So in onCreate dialog, we have to put in right here val date listener is going to equal date picker dialog dot on date set listener. Get rid of the parentheses, put in curly braces, underscore, that's for whenever we have a parameter that we are not going to make use of, and then date picker, comma, year of type int, comma, month of type int, comma, day of type int, the arrow. I'm going to need an import here. Oh, good. Tabbed over. And then val result date is equal to, and this is where we get our ints from something called the Gregorian calendar. Perhaps you've heard of it. And then passing in year and month and day. And then go outside of those parentheses, dot time. Then we use our set fragment result to the request key date as our first argument, and for the second, bundle of, and then inside, let's see what I need here. Do I need an import? Yep. So let's do that. That way, maybe we'll get constant and not have to type it all out. Bundle, key date. Now, we haven't made this yet. Okay. To result date. All right. So let's make this bundle key date. Let's go back to the top here and put in constant val, bundle key date. Is equal to bundle key date inside parentheses. Now we have our listener set up. This no longer needs to be null, so we're going to get rid of that and put in our listener that we just made, which is date listener. So the last thing we have to do is go take care of this to-do right here on this side. We're going to go val new date is equal to bundle dot get serializable. Inside the parentheses, actually, this is going to be a SAM, so we're going to get rid of the parentheses, put in the curly braces, and it's going to be it.copy, and inside of parentheses now, we're going to put date is equal to new date. Looks like I picked the wrong version of get serializable. And I expect, no? Let me check that. Oh, I see it. Okay, so this needs to go away. And now, maybe I don't see it. Okay, but I'm going to go on because this gets changed anyway. So let's see, val new date is equal to bundle dot get serializable. This is going to be date picker fragment. Dot bundle key date and the parentheses as date and crime detail view model dot update update crime, and in here, it.copy. Okay, that's what I was missing. And then date is equal to new date. Still says a type mismatch. Required a string. I'm going to put this request key back. And that does not fix it. All right, I finally found it. Tabbed it kind of the way the book had it tabbed. I had a curly brace here instead of parentheses. Sorry about that, but at this point, we should get a finished product. Let's see. All right, let's go into Toxic Lunch, change the date to Wednesday the 22nd, hit OK, and it's changed to Wednesday the 22nd. The time's gone, but the date has changed. Okay, we did it. We have finished chapter, there we go. We finished chapter 14. We'll see you in chapter 15 soon.